Hey, welcome back to our channel. This is Matt and Cheryl.
And we are so excited because today we're going to take you on a tour of Magic Kingdom. It has the most attractions of any of the Walt Disney World Resort parks, and there really is something there for every member of your family. We're going to show you the rides, the layout of the park, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know what things you want to go do when you go.
Okay, when you enter the park, the first thing that you're going to see is the Walt Disney World Railroad. Now this was part of Walt Disney's dream, was to have a theme park that was encircled by a railroad, because Walt Disney loved trains. He even had a toy train or a miniature train in his backyard that he used to drive around for relaxation, and then he would take kids for rides on it and things like that. So that was really part of Walt's dream. It's no mistake that this is the first ride that you see. It was the first ride completed in Walt Disney World. And then as you go into the park, one of the first things that you'll see is a statue of Roy Disney. This was Walt's brother, and you might wonder why there's a statue of Roy Disney sitting next to Mickey, and that's because Walt passed away before Disney World could be built. In fact, he passed away before it was started, and his brother Roy took the reins and saw it to its completion. And Walt Disney World really has Roy Disney to thank for stepping up and getting it done. So as you walk past Roy Disney, you're walking down Main Street, USA. This is one of 6 lands at Magic Kingdom. There aren't really any rides here. There's a lot of shops and stores, but it's still a very cool entryway to the park.
The next thing you'll see is a statue of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse. And I love this because even though Walt did die 5 years before the completion of Walt Disney World, there are all sorts of elements of things that Walt Disney contributed to Walt Disney World that guests can still enjoy today. All right, ahead of that, you're going to see Cinderella's Castle, which is just a hair shy of 200 feet tall. It has beautiful mosaics inside of some popular scenes from the movie. But you're going to turn right before you get to the castle so you can go to Tomorrowland. And the first ride you're going to see is the Astro Orbiter because it's on a platform. It was built in 1974, and it's the rocket-shaped cars going around in a circle, somewhat to the Dumbo ride. And it will give you a great aerial view of the park, even if it isn't the most popular ride.
Okay, sticking with Tomorrowland, the next ride is Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. So this is an interactive ride. You hop in a people mover type of a cart, and you'll ride through different scenes shooting a laser gun at different targets. Your goal is to get to level 7 Galactic Hero, but you have to get about 1 million points to get there, and it's really difficult. We've only gotten up to about 100,000, but there is a strategy. There are targets that are worth more points, so you want to look that up online before you go to be ready for it. This, of course, is based on the 1995 movie Toy Story, which was a monumental success and really launched the new computer-generated 3D movies.
It's a great big beautiful tomorrow at the Carousel of Progress, which is the next ride. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the great big beautiful tomorrow, you will after you go on the ride. It's the theme song for the ride, and it's pretty cute and catchy. In this ride, you follow a family through 4 generations, and the dad is voiced by Gene Shepherd, who you've probably heard on the famous Christmas Story. But it is a very fun ride, and something unique about it is that it's sort of a ride. It's not really a ride, but it's a kind of a show and play. But instead of the scenes moving, the audience does. You move in a carousel type motion, and that's why it's called the Carousel of Progress. We also have Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor for another show in Tomorrowland that's based on the 2001 movie release. In fact, this is the only attraction in Tomorrowland that was built after the year 2000. But the Laugh Floor is about 10 minutes long, and it's kind of fun because the monsters in it interact with the audience, and if you submit a joke before the show, you might get your joke told during it.
Up next is the very famous Space Mountain. This is a dark ride roller coaster that goes about 30 miles per hour, but it makes it feel like you're going a lot faster because you're in the dark.
Walt Disney wanted to do this, but it took 11 years for the technology to come around for it to happen. And it wasn't until the Matterhorn became successful in California that they felt that a high adventure ride would be popular in a Walt Disney World park. And so that was when they started moving forward on that. You do need to be 44 inches to ride Space Mountain, which is about the height of a 6-year-old. But something wonderful about Disney parks is that they really are family friendly. Even if all the members can't go on the attraction at one time, they can do a rider swap where if you stay back with the kid, they'll let you at the front of the line. They'll just give you a little pass. They also don't make you store your gear in a locker. They make it pretty easy. And on rides that don't have a height requirement, a lot of those rides, they'll let you put your child on your lap. So not on Space Mountain, of course, but on more of the mellower rides that they make it comfortable for the family to ride together.
Okay, the next ride is Tomorrowland Speedway. This is where you get to drive your very own vehicle and you can let your child in the driver's seat. These cars go at top speed of 7.5 miles per hour. The ride is 0.4 of a mile, and if your kid's driving, it will feel a lot longer than that. These cars are pretty difficult to drive and steer. You'll kind of bang around on the little center rail that keeps you on the track.
All right. And as we mentioned earlier before, Tomorrowland is a little dated, but they are getting an exciting new update. Tron Light Cycle Power Run roller coaster is coming soon. They are building it right now, and it's going to be the fastest ride ever introduced to Walt Disney World. It's already in Shanghai Disney, and it is their very best attraction.
Okay, time to move on from Tomorrowland to Fantasyland. So Fantasyland is split into two different sections. There's the Enchanted Forest and the Storybook Circus. We'll start in Storybook Circus, which is more of a kiddie town. Fantasyland's kind of a kiddie place anyway, but Storybook Circus for the real little ones. The first ride that we're going to look at is Goofy's Barnstormer, which was built in 1996, and the whole ride lasts 30 seconds, but it is the only roller coaster there in Storybook Circus.
And the queue, the actual length of the line is actually longer than the track on the roller coaster, which is kind of interesting.
It's a thrill ride for the youngsters.
Mm-hmm. The next one we have is Dumbo the Flying Elephant, and I recall this as a child seeing commercials for this as a kid and being excited to ride on Dumbo. And Walt Disney World has been pretty smart in that they have built 2 of those so that the lines are shorter. But a classic ride that gives you aerial views of Fantasyland.
Okay, now we're going to leave Storybook Circus and go into the Enchanted Forest.
All right, and there you're going to see Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid, which is a really fun dark ride. The queue for the ride is just as fun as the ride, but once you get on, there you're going to see some of your favorite characters from The Little Mermaid and hear some of the great songs.
Okay, the next ride is probably the most popular ride in Fantasyland, and this is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This is a relatively newer ride built in 2014. It is a super fun family roller coaster. Now, I like this ride a lot because it goes indoors and outdoors. There are a couple of rises and drops. This is a great ride. It's really smooth ride. It uses a tilting mechanism where the carts tilt side to side, and it just makes it a much more natural feel. This is a must-do in Fantasyland.
All right, the next one is You Can Spin Yourself Silly at the Mad Tea Party, themed after Alice in Wonderland. This is not a ride I particularly enjoy going on, but I think it adds so much to the atmosphere of Fantasyland. It's fun to hear the Unbirthday song, and it's just bright and colorful, and especially the younger kids, they love this ride because they can control how quickly the teacups spin around. After that, you're going to see the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And as I was researching this, I found something interesting that Walt became interested in Winnie the Pooh when he heard his daughter Diane laughing in her room and found she was reading a Winnie the Pooh book. The Winnie Pooh and the Honey Tree was the last short film that Walt Disney filmed before he died. And the ride is very cute and fun. Little children will enjoy it. Nothing scary, just lots of fun.
No theme park would be complete without a carousel. So our next stop is Prince Charming's Regal Carousel, which was built in 1917, over 100 years ago. Disney World bought it at some point when they were building Magic Kingdom and installed it for the opening in 1971. So this is the largest carousel in the United States.
If you have a daughter that's into princesses, Princess Fairy Tale Hall is a must. When you get in line for this, you're going to have to make a choice. You can go see Cinderella, and there will be a visiting princess with her, or you can go see Rapunzel, and there will be a visiting princess with her. Lines can get a little long, but girls do love it, and there are fast passes available if this is something your family wants to do.
Our next stop is a show, Mickey's PhilharMagic. Gives you a little break for your day. It's a 12-minute show with music, history, and Donald Duck.
If you didn't get your fill at the Princess Fairy Tale Hall, You can also go and do story time with Enchanted Tales with Belle. It's a 20-minute show featuring her and some of the characters from the movie. Also a fast pass attraction that does get quite a few visitors, but you are definitely going to see some princesses in Fantasyland if you want to see them.
Our next stop is the very popular Peter Pan's Flight. This ride has been a fan favorite since day one at Disneyland and at Disney World. This ride has really great theming. It has a really nice line where you're walking through the Darling House. And then the ride itself, you are flying over the city of London as if you're Peter Pan.
Our last stop in Fantasyland is It's a Small World, where you get to visit over 100 countries in 12 minutes and hear the song whether you love it or hate it. It's a small world after all.
This ride, of course, is famous for hearing It's a Small World over and over and over. That is the song that they play the entire ride. But it actually is a nice leisurely ride, and there's a lot going on this with all the animatronics. Okay, time to leave Fantasyland, and now we will enter Liberty Square. Liberty Square was built to honor the founding of America. So it's built in the colonial style, and Magic Kingdom was being built shortly before the 200th birthday of America, which was in 1976, and the park was built in 1971. They wanted to find a way to honor that, particularly because Walt Disney was a real patriot, loved his country, and so they came up with this idea to build Liberty Square.
The first attraction is the Haunted Mansion. This was actually built in Disneyland first, but that took them between 1961 and 1969 to build it. But they did know they were going to put it in at Walt Disney World as well. And so as the Imagineers were building the animatronics, they built two of everything so they didn't have to go back and redo it. Some of the fun of this ride is the queue. There's all sorts of fun sayings on the graves. And if you look at Madame Leota's grave, she might open her eyes and look at you for a sec.
Okay, after the Haunted Mansion is the Liberty Square Riverboat. Here you can dock and get on the ship Liberty Belle and go for a little boat ride around Tom Sawyer's Island on the rivers of America. This was built to commemorate early American history and how the waterways were the highways back then. Now, the next main attraction at Liberty Square is the Hall of Presidents.
This is a 25-minute show that features the Constitution and the hard-fought battles of American history. They have audio animatronics of all 46 presidents. And I know a lot of people think that it's kind of lame at this part, but I love how they go through and name every president one by one and show them because the likeness of the animatronic is incredible.
This show was way more than I expected. One of my favorite parts is how Mark Twain sits there and talks with Benjamin Franklin as they talk about American history. Teddy Roosevelt makes an appearance. This, I think, is really worth a stop. Okay, our next stop is Frontierland, and the designers of Magic Kingdom actually designed it to go from Liberty Square to Frontierland. Frontierland is the only land that you cannot access from the central circle, and it was for a reason. They wanted you to go through American history, through the early time period, and then to the 1800s out on the frontier with the American West. So this is kind of a land that we are at home at here in Utah.
Yep, and the first place you're going to see is the Country Bear Jamboree, which is another show. It has 18 animatronic bears and critters that cycle through 13 songs. It's about 16 minutes long. Country Bear Jamboree has been around since 1971 opening day. Even though it has been closed at the Anaheim location, it is still going strong at the Magic Kingdom.
It's a pretty fun little hoedown.
Next, you're going to go to Tom Sawyer's Island, where you have to ride a barge to get there. Once you cross the rivers of America, you get to be a kid again, going through caves, forts, bridges. It's just a really fun place to go on an adventure and let the kids run around. And if you're a little tuckered out like a lot of us adults are, there's rocking chairs for you to relax in too.
It's a nice break from waiting in the lines all day. Okay, the next ride across the way from Tom Sawyer Island is Splash Mountain. This is my favorite ride in the park. This is a very nice, delightful water boat ride. You have to be 40 inches to go on it. And most of the ride is simply floating through as they tell you the story of Brer Rabbit outwitting Brer Fox and Brer Bear through the bayou. But the highlight of the ride, of course, is the big log flume drop. Soon this will be rethemed to Princess and the Frog. All
right, we saved one of the best for last, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This is a family roller coaster, so pretty much everyone in your family will enjoy it, but you do need to be 40 inches tall to ride. That's about the age of a 5-year-old. And we love it here, since we're Utahns, that it's themed after Monument Valley, and there's even some geysers to help us think of Yellowstone. This does top out at 35 miles per hour. There's mostly just a lot of turns and some smaller hills, but your kids will feel like they have done something pretty cool if they've gone on that roller coaster.
Okay, time to leave the Old West and head to the jungle in Adventureland. So the first ride is the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh, one of my also very, very favorites. This is a very immersive dark ride where you get to follow pirates raiding a town and search for Captain Jack Sparrow. This has been one that people just adore. Whenever it changes, people kind of get a little up in arms, whether you enjoy the changes or not. But Pirates of the Caribbean will be one that the whole family can enjoy together.
Okay, our next stop is the Jungle Cruise. This is a very cheeky ride. You'll hop on a boat with a skipper who will tell you some terrible jokes as you ride through the jungle and look at animatronic animals.
But they're terribly awesome jokes. It's probably where dad jokes were born, at the Jungle Cruise.
This is really a fun ride. Even in line, the announcements have some bad jokes. And they are fun. They're very fun jokes. Now, Walt wanted this to be an actual jungle cruise with real animals, but they told him, hey, the animals sleep during the day, so this probably isn't going to work. So they built animatronics instead. In the early days, it was kind of a serious ride meant to replace the real animals, but after a while, they just started poking fun at the animatronics and at themselves.
And I'm so glad it turned out the way it did. I think this ride is way better with the silly jokes and animatronics than it would have been if there had been real animals. But this ride's also getting rethemed, and hopefully the retheme will make it even better. Our next one is the Enchanted Tiki Room. People have mixed feelings about the Tiki Room, but it is filled with animatronic birds, and they do a little singing show. And if anything, it's AC and out of the hot Florida sun.
Yes, this is a little bit like It's a Small World, where there are a lot of animatronics, so much that it's actually cool. You just can't help but appreciate all the detail that went into all this. Okay, the next ride is the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. This is a lot like the Dumbo ride, a very simple kid ride, but we like how you get up high and kind of look over the land of Adventureland.
All right, our last stop at the Magic Kingdom is the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, themed after the 1960 movie Swiss Family Robinson. This tree is huge. Well, it's actually considered a building. It's not a natural tree, but it's 90 feet high and 60 feet wide. And it is just fun to climb those stairs and see all the little gadgets they came up with. Our family enjoyed this attraction so much that we went twice through the tree.
Oh yeah, we love taking an opportunity for some of these places to get your wiggles out, and again, to stop waiting in line, but to actually move around. This is a really nice treehouse. That's it for the tour of all the rides in Magic Kingdom.
I am curious what your favorite land at Magic Kingdom is. Leave it in the comments and we'll see which land is the best.
We have plenty of other videos about Disney, so feel free to check them out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.